Hey everybody, in this video I want to speak about how AI, artificial intelligence, can help you to deal with narcissistic and especially psychopathic abuse. I think it's important that we reflect a lot about artificial intelligence because it's one of the most influential innovations or factors in our current day and age, I believe. And the input I will give you can help to reflect about artificial intelligence in general. So I also want to point out, to give it a personal note, and people who have experienced difficult situations with abusive personalities might relate to that. Everything that I learn, so every new experience, every thought that I do or get, and of course there's a lot of intentional education and awakening moments after difficult situations and in our lifetimes, I connect all of this back to these difficult moments in order to move on, in order to understand it better. We could call it shadow work and integration to a part. And at some point, we also want to move on from that, right? But on the other hand, it would also be a quite fatal mistake to move on too quickly and leave things unchecked so that they sink down unprocessed into subconsciousness. So I connect new things I learn to that and use them to increase my pattern recognition and make sense of what I have experienced, to grasp the patterns and to integrate and learn from whatever these new insights are. And the same is with artificial intelligence, because what I just realized is that psychopaths in some way use human beings like we human beings use artificial intelligences like Chatgpt. In other words, psychopaths use human beings as tools and they prompt them. So when you interact with a psychopath, what happens is they prompt you, they give you an input, they are signaling, they try to feed into you some information, some signals, some form of narration. Yeah, mixed with everything. It's information, narration, tone, body language, and so on, in order to get a result from you. And this is the same that we do when we prompt ChatGPT. It means we give ChatGPT an information of us. We lay down an idea that we have, a narration, and we can even try to put in some emotional, with language we can describe all of this, pictures and emotions, and then we try to get a result. And if we don't like the result, we might adjust the prompt until we get what we want. And I have just realized how psychopaths do the same with human beings. The problem with this is that we don't anticipate to be seen or perceived or used as tools. We anticipate to experience mutual, human, authentic communication and interaction. We don't think that there is somebody that simply wants to have a certain reaction And, in fact, what psychopaths want is to use you as an instrument to get closer to their goal. And that's all. That's all. That's literally all. And this, I just made this connection because, as I said, when I think about artificial intelligence and all the new insights I get, and it's important to reflect about it, what are the strengths of artificial intelligence and what are the dangers to us as human beings, I connected it back to this and found out this very significant parallel that psychopaths use human beings like artificial intelligences because they prompt us and they want a certain result, and if they don't get it, they just keep prompting us until, they get the result. And when I say psychopath, by the way, I speak not about what you might think. I speak about a person that is high functioning, very regulated, even to a degree that the person is beyond stable. It's not real regulated human stability, resilience. It's rather a form of repression. It's a person that has detached from emotions and real deep intimate human relationships. But these people have a very high impulse control, so they don't show what's happening behind them. And this is another parallel to artificial intelligence, because artificial intelligence is powered by literally, it's called a black box, that is created by feeding a neuronal network with tons of information, and then this black box is created. But no matter what kind of nerdy scientist you ask, everybody will tell you the same. They don't know what really is inside and what is happening. They simply see the result, which is an artificial intelligence that is working, but they don't know what is happening inside. And a psychopath also creates the image of working perfectly, being super nice and regulated, having high impulse control, breaking things down to common sense, being able to moralize any behavior, being able to create any narrative. But you have the feeling when you know this person deeper, there is no spine, no backbone, no character, no flaw, no error. And you have the feeling there is a black box, something inside, like the lack of a personality core that you could grasp or that is tangible. It's just a black box and you don't know what happens inside. It's not there. It's not there. The human being is not there. But the superficial picture is amazing, perfect, like Chatgpt, like an artificial intelligence. And now to the point where I told you before, how can it help you? The thing is this: psychopaths try to prompt you and use you as an instrument. If you're not an instrument, you're an obstacle, and when you're an obstacle, you are prompted until you become an instrument again. It means when you don't do what the psychopath wants you to do to reach the goals of the psychopath, they consider you broken, you're not working correctly. And this means they either discard you and they stonewall you, so you're not existing anymore. But if they are forced to regard you as existent because you are either an instrument or obstacle again, so they are forced to interact with you. Again, they prompt you until they get their goal. Okay, so how can AI help you with this regard? The problem is you're a human being. The problem is you're emotional. The problem is you're invested in life. The problem is you're empathetic. The problem is You have learned what good is, and recently probably also what evil is. That's the problem. And a psychopath used this all the time against you. The thing is, for outside people, when you're interacting with the psychopath, it looks like, the psychopath can destroy people around them, their own children, loved ones, everybody, and appearing with a narration as if they are the savior. They want to create peace. They are either the savior or the victim or both of it. They can take everything that you own, your car, your house, your family, your belongings, and be perfectly regulated in doing so. Smile in your face, be nice, and moralize it and rationalize it from the standpoint of a savior or a victim, and talk to you while you are emotionally dysregulated because you feel hurt or you feel there is something wrong about this behavior. But for people from the outside, it will look like that really there must be something about it, that you are the problem, because why are you so emotional? Why, you have this brain fog coming, a psychopath can get you quickly out of composure. So you lose your point, you just can't believe what you see and hear, and you're losing your focus. Or different other ways. There's multiple ways to gaslight, and I'm not here to give you a list of the different ways of gaslighting people. Most of the times it works with flattering your ego or massively devaluing your ego, all while mirroring you and pretending to be a stable, morally correct person with a moral high ground. And creating a narration that you just can't believe as being the real victim of this, right? So that's a problem, right? And what you can do now to change the odds, right? So what you need is, of course, distance, time to recalibrate yourself. And what you need is Chatgpt. What you need is an artificial intelligence, because an artificial intelligence, again, is like the psychopath. It's detached, it's unemotional, and it has got a black box inside as well. So it means, I tell you something, you have all the knowledge and experience when you live together and gathered tons of amount of data. Your trauma that you experienced contains data. And a psychopath can stop you from using this data against the psychopath by gaslighting you and get you into kind of states of confusion by gaslighting you. But ChatGPT can help you to uncover your experiences, structure them, and not become emotional, okay? Because that is why people who experience these encounters and communications will kind of buy into the narration of the psychopath, because you get confused, you are emotionally reacting, and you lose your point while getting angry or sad or upset or whatever, which always projects the picture that the psychopath is the stable and functioning person and there's something wrong with you. All right, now when you feed ChatGPT, like an artificial intelligence, with the information that you have, it can help you to break it down and get the narration right, because unconsciously, subconsciously, you have already internalized the false moralizing way the psychopath presented to you the things that happened, it's a kind of giving your memories the wrong color. You have already subconsciously internalized the moralizing, rationalizing, and generalizing way the psychopath puts things that happened into context. But when you tell Chatgpt certain things that happened, it will give you very valuable outputs. And these are: first, it structures your thoughts. Second, it puts away all emotionality. So if you have to write an email that can be the basis for the next sessions that you have to speak and interact, the email will be just like the psychopath is: kind, nice, super regulated, morally absolute acceptable, common sense, all of that. In other words, perfect, unemotional, detached. And this is what you need to even the odds to be on the same level of the psychopath. The psychopath will not come to your level of a human being. No, you go to the level of the psychopath using artificial intelligence to process the information the same way the psychopath is acting. And the psychopath can change, but artificial intelligence can help you to get this hyper rational, morally correct, common sense view that was obstructed by your emotional and human detachment and vulnerability. Okay? So it takes out the human side of you that a psychopath can use against you. It is also the case that you will, or you have to try it. You tell them things that you have, you might work on topics. You grab for memories. You reprocess memories. You do family work. You look back into the darkest corner of the past, and you tell Chatgpt what happened. And in the narration of these dysfunctional families, they idealize it and glorifies what happens, and you have it subconsciously internalized that way. Even if you think you're critical about it, you might feel a small feeling of something is off, but I can't put my finger on it. And then ChatGPT tells you that this is not legal. This is, they frame it as a heroic deed. But what really happened was, like, it could be that people created artificial emergency situations just to emerge as saviors and heroes, but they were willing to do illegal acts to do this. And this is just a repeating family pattern that you then can single out and see repeating in a present moment. And you did not see this similarity. So ChatGPT can help you with finding patterns. You have to do all the work yourself, because ChatGPT is by no means intuitive or helps you to find the patterns, but you need to feed it the information, and it can structure it and give you a kind of reflection about it that is free from the idealization and the narrative tone that the dysfunctional family side tries to give the past. All right, so it can give you the legal and moral reflection that is more realistic than this distorted view that you have been fed. That being said, please let me know in the comments if you wish to reflect more about artificial intelligence, what it can do for us and what the dangers are. I can give you just a small taste of it. Imagine the famous question, what do you take with you when you go to a deserted island? Now today we have the option to say I take a mobile phone with ChatGPT on it, or another AI. And let's assume you have a solar generator or a solar cell that can power it. But the time is of course limited because salt and sand will destroy the phone over time. So the health of the phone will decline over time. But imagine how addicted you will be to that phone, because it literally solves all your problems when you engage them, because it can always explain you how to build a shelter, how to treat a disease without a doctor, and so on and so on. Imagine how crazy and obsessed you will be in keeping this phone alive, how much it will dictate all your thoughts and all your life. Literally, you will project all your livelihood into that phone. And on the other hand, a skilled survivor that has learned everything by experience and books and the hard school of life will be completely independent of that phone. If you want to go into these kind of reflections, let me know in the comments. Thank you.